Okay, welcome back. This is part two of the place value lessons. And what I'm going to do is start by going back a few slides, remind you what we finished on in part one. We had worked on counting and then gotten into base 10 blocks so that kids could look at something and say make 61. And they knew that they needed 6 10 rods and 1 unit. And it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 61. And really had that down. And then 61 cents, we finished off with this of like transferring it over just to make sure that they got the concept on a deeper way. If they can do the rods, they should be able to do it with the money as well. And then now we're going to go on to something else. Lesson part two is going to be patterns. Now, I've done this lesson literally from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade with classes of thousands of kids, and literally thousands of kids. And the crazy thing is how many 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders told me later that they never understood some of the way our number system works. It was pretty fascinating. So here's what we're going to do. Introduce the 100 chart. 100 chart is called a 100 chart because it goes up to 100. If you notice, there's 10 in every row, all the way in 10 in every column, and it goes from 1 to 100. And then what you want kids to do is begin to notice that there are very distinct patterns in our number system based on being base 10. So what I'll usually do with them is say, what patterns do you see? There's a bunch, and I'll accept any one they have and listen to what they say. One of the most common ones is the last column is tens, or they'll say it all ends in 0. That's a good one. They'll notice that left to right, it goes counts by ones and increases. Maybe they'll notice that in the top row, but sometimes they'll notice that in other rows. So for example, let's look at this one. If you're looking at this one, if a kid notices, well, I noticed that in this column, everything ends in a 4. So that's pretty great. But then also there's a pattern to the numbers at the front. So it goes like really the top number is 0, 4, even though it's not there. And then it goes 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. And that's a pattern. Another pattern is going across, that they all start with 4, except of course the last number. But that's with the front number or the tens number, and then the ones number is slowly increasing by 1 all the way across. 41, 42, 43. Cannot explain how important it is that kids really verbalize this out loud. So then what I do is I do an activity with them where I slowly begin to cover things, ask them what's covered, and identify how they know. And the thing is, there's more than one way to know, and that's what I want to do, is begin like a very in-depth understanding. So on this one, covered up there, it's 35, 36, 37, 38, okay? So here it is. But there's a couple different ways to know. One is you could start in the 30 row and go 31, 32, 33, 34, and then 35, 36, 37, 38. But another kid might say, well, going down, I see 5, then below that 15. So it goes 5, then 1, 5, then 2, 5, then it skips 1, and then it goes to 4, 5. So the pattern's 1, 5, 2, 5, got to be 3, 5. So they could see it they can get it from the number above. Also, they could get it from the number below. So let's look at like 56, then go up to 46, then it's going to be 36. So they can get it from below. And then the last way is they could have started at the end here at 40 and gone backwards, 40, 39, and then found their 38. So there's lots of ways to get the answers, and the more ways kids know, the more we're going to know that they have a deep understanding. Okay, so for on this one, usually I'll say, what are they? And they'll say 34, 44, 54, 64. And the question is, how did you do it? Most of them did it by going downward, but then I also want them to see, well, you could have just looked and said, well, what goes between 33 35. Well, 34, obviously. Go down, they could have gone down to the bottom. They could have started at 94 and said 94 going up to 84 to 74 to 64. So there's lots of ways to get it, and the more ways that they can see that, the more they'll start to see patterns. Okay, so then I'll say to them, what are all these numbers? And, kids can figure it out. And I'll say, can you please tell me what all four numbers are, but tell me by describing their relationship to 45. So then they can say, well, above the 45 is 35, below is 55. To the left is going to be one smaller, so that's 44. The one to the right is going to be one bigger. So the more you can really draw that out of them, that's really great. Okay, there's the numbers that were there. Usually when I show this to pretty much from like 6th grade down, as soon as I do that, I get and the kids go crazy and they're very excited to figure out what this is. Let me see, did I make it on the next one? Yeah. So basically I'll have them, I have them do it with a partner usually. I mean, if they're homeschooling, you're doing it yourself, you might be able to help guide and see how much, if a kid can do it themselves, you would let them. If not, you give them a little bit of help. But basically, I have them write down, and then basically what I'm looking for them to write is 23, and then below that 33, then next to that 34, and below the 34, a 44. And honestly, I've noticed that it matters, like it really doesn't matter how perfectly they line it up, but if they do line it up, it kind of shows me that they, like, meaning like 45, the 55, the 4 is right over the 5 and the 5 is right over the 5. That shows me that they really understand that kind of matters in our number system. So now you could give them practice like this. So if I put the 45 here, what goes to the two left numbers and the right? So obviously to the left, we're going to have 44, and then going back to 43, to the right is going to be 46. What if the 45 was there? Well, below it's obviously 55, but above it is 35 and 25. And then here you can fill in all four numbers. And then this is where it starts to get cool. Can they do this? 45, next to it's 46. Below 46 is 56. Next to 56 is 57, 58. And then below 58 is 68. Now, if you notice when I'm saying it, I'm emphasizing either the tens number or the ones number, which is kind of guiding them to get the answer. So when I'm going sideways, I'm going 45 becomes 46. I want them to know that it's the second number that helps them sideways. And then when they're going downwards from 46, I'll say from 46 to 56. And I'm just trying to give them as much guidance so that they can. Now this one, they'd have to work backwards, 45, and then it's 44. What's above 44 is 34. Before 34 is 33 and 32. And above 32 is 22. Okay, so then they should be able to start here and rattle them off and figure out whatever goes in there. Put one in the middle, who cares? You should be able to find it no matter what. Here's the ones that I do at the end. These are like for practice. And like if a kid really understands, they should be able to look at this, not fill anything in the black, but know what that other box is. So it'll go 54, 55. Below 55 is 65. Then it goes 66, 67. And below 67 is 77. So that would be the idea. Same thing with this one. Doesn't matter where you start, but the more they practice this, it really builds in a firm understanding of our number system and how it works. And again, I cannot tell you how many 6th, 7th, and 8th graders really don't have a firm grasp of this. And the crazy thing is, if you think about it, I'm going to zoom back and end here. I have a decimal chart as well. And really with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, I usually start out with not the 100 chart, but the decimal chart. And then it's like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So, because it's really the same thing. So obviously, if you learned it well in the lower grades, this is like 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade kind of stuff. Then when you get to the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, you learn with decimals, it's so simple. But the kids don't have a lot, not all, but a lot of kids don't have that. And if you do, if you go back and focus on this, I cannot tell you how many how much improvement I've seen. So this is part two. There's going to be, like I said, probably 5 or 6 parts, but this is the part that you would work on second.